Hello, I'm Mike Parrish, Agriculture Extension Agent in Dinwiddie County, and I'm for the soil because it's the foundation to everything in agriculture.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of For the Soil, a conversation. I'm your host, Jeff Ishee, and one quick note before we get to our episode today, and that is a reminder that on December the 5th, that's Tuesday, December the 5th of this year, 2023, will be World Soil Day, and we're celebrating it at For the Soil, and I know you will be. We all care about the soil and the health of the soil. Once again, Tuesday, December the 5th is World Soil Day. Now let's get to this week's episode. Welcome, everyone, to For the Soil, a conversation. I'm your host, Jeff Ishee. Dr. Eric Benfelt is taking the week off, and joining us today, we also have Mary Bryant with the Virginia Soil Health Coalition. And Mary, we're going to be talking about the Master Gardener program today. I'm really excited about it because I, like a lot of our listeners, we have a passion about gardening. We love to grow things, whether it's sustainability, whether it's feeding our own family, whether it's just learning about Mother Nature and all she does in the garden. This is going to be a fun conversation. I know that. So, Mary, if you would introduce our special guest.
Thanks, Jeff. So glad to have Craig Fracker and Kate Bracken with us today, both Master Gardeners in the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association, and I'll let them both share more of their background with us. But, I thought to get started, just because I always take for granted that I know all of the amazing things that Master Gardeners do, but, only have recently realized that many people do not. So wondering if either of you, we'll start with you, Kate, could just share what a Master Gardener is.
Well, first off, I want you to, thank you for having me, but I want you to understand master, it can be deceiving. We are master volunteers. So we know a little bit about gardening. That what we really do know is that there is a place to go for research-based information so that we are helping our planet by following the research-based rather than the non-research based. So, and we volunteer in the community to sharing our knowledge. The mission is empowering or sharing knowledge, empowering communities. So it's very much a volunteer program. We spend a lot of time together. We have a lot of fun in the association. And it's just a real great time to spend together.
I believe both of you are members of the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Craig, you were sharing with us before the podcast began today a little bit about your journey on becoming a Master Gardener. Could you share that story again for our listeners?
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I was saying, that I grew up on a rural cattle farm in Illinois and then moved to South Georgia and continued that journey. Went off to college and kind of left the agricultural world and stepped into the retail management world and a couple of years, and then continued gardening throughout that time on a small scale. And then once I moved to Virginia, decided that I wanted to go ahead and take the property that I had and make it more sustainable. So joining the Master Gardener Association was a big step in that to allow me to meet other individuals that carry the same passion and to move forward with that. It's been a lot of fun.
And I know that the Master Gardeners, you both, Craig and Kate, have been talking a lot about this care for the land and kind of that mindset. What role does care for the soil play in what you bring as Master Gardeners?
Well, if we don't have soil, we don't have a garden. So that's pretty much my take on it. We have developed a environmental climate initiative called HOPE, helping our planet endure. Hope from the garden. And so we want to send the positive message that yes, our soil needs help, but it's doable. We are able to do that. And we can make a difference in our climate, in the climate change situation. Unfortunately, we cannot control big business, but we can control what we're doing in our own backyard. So that's what we've been focusing on. We started in 2021, and we have been working hard to make sure that the communities understand that there are things that we can do on our own property, even in an urban situation, that will help our soil and help the planet.
We're talking today with Kate Bracken and Craig Fracker. They're both with the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association, and I have to commend you on your website. For those of our listeners who would like to visit their website, it's gpmga.org. That's Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association, gpmga.org. I have to ask both of you, what are some of your favorite vegetables to grow? Craig, we'll start with you.
I would, of course, I enjoy growing tomatoes, and one of the main reasons that I enjoy that is because I like to make salsa. But what I have the most fun with is garlic and onions. It's just put them in the ground, not have to do a whole lot to them, just watch them come, and then being able to store them for so long as a staple. They're one of my favorites. It used to be peppers, growing all kinds of different varieties of peppers, whether it be sweet or hot peppers, but then I ran out of things to do with them. So I don't grow as many as I used to.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly on garlic. That's one of my favorite crops also. I find that generally in raised beds anyway, about a 4 foot by 4 foot area grows way more garlic than I'll ever eat in a year. We end up giving it away to everybody else, but it's amazingly easy to grow. And surprisingly, pests do not like garlic. And that's a good thing, I guess.
They kind of favor, they go in the family with Jerusalem artichokes and mint and all those other herbs that we tend to use to flavor our foods. Pests don't like it.
Yep. Kate, do you have a favorite vegetable to grow?
Not really. I did when I first started in gardening in Ohio. My first year, I had planted one packet of zucchini seeds, which was a lot of zucchini. I was a new gardener and I was not aware of that. So I found ways to use zucchini. So I love all vegetables, but now in my life, I am more interested in herbs and and things that I can use to enhance food as well as medicinal. So, I mean, I'm not making anything from them, but it's good to know that there are certain herbs that you can use and it will help an upset stomach or so forth. So
now, what is the ideal soil conditions for growing herbs, maybe in a backyard vegetable garden?
Well, now that's a technical one. What I grow my herbs in is I buy potting soil and I put them in a pot and I grow them on my deck because I have deer and I don't want to fight the deer. I love the deer. I love waking up in the morning and walking out on the front porch and seeing them. So I'm not gardening like I did before because I'm adjusted to the wildlife that is living on my property.
I would say that I have a small medicinal garden where I have a few plants that are growing, and they seem to do pretty well in poor soil conditions. They seem to do okay, and they come back year after year. My more annual types of herbs, they seem to like a more organically rich, well-drained soil from my experience.
What is the soil like down in Goochland and Powhatan? That's a general question, but
yeah. When we moved into our property 5 years ago, we did experience some backfill, but in the areas that were mainly just pasture, it was typically loamy clay, little bit higher percentage in clay. Did have some loamy textures to it, so not terrible by no means. Not your Ohio, Indiana, Illinois rich black dirt, and definitely not the hard southern clay. So kind of in the mix. So a little bit of best worlds that still need some care.
And jumping back to really interested in hearing about the Hope Garden, helping our planet endure, I believe is what that stood for. On the website, it talks about really supporting practices that sequester carbon, and wondered if you could talk about what some of those are specifically for the backyard garden.
Well, one that surprised me was no tilling. Do not till your soil. Every time you till your soil, you are releasing carbon and adding oxygen to the soil, which kills the nutrients that you have in there. So as much as you can, no tilling. And that really was the biggest eye opener for me. That is one of the, actually, we have a soils team, and they we had soils part 1, and we are next year, this year we're working on it. We'll be working on soils part 2, where we are talking about carbon sequestration and what we can do in our own properties to help that.
The popularity of backyard gardening has increased dramatically, in my opinion, since COVID. A lot of people, whether it was just to grow their own food, and of course we've had food price inflation, that was another factor. But over the past 3 years, I've seen a dramatic increase in the number of gardeners and the interest in gardening. And I can give an example of that. I was recently walking through my local Costco store, and they had bagged earthworm castings at Costco. I'm thinking, wow, gardening is big now. It's earthworm castings are at Costco. Can either of you explain the importance of earthworm castings in a garden?
Well, Craig, I'll let you go with that. You're the soil guy.
That's really not an area that I have much experience with. I don't keep an earthworm bin and to work that. So to speak experience wise, I could not, other than just adding natural benefits back to our soil. I do encourage my own earthworms within my soil through a variety of methods, whether it's adding compost, occasional blood meal to draw them up, but in lots and lots of mulch.
I'm glad you mentioned compost. Do both of you compost?
Some. I'm a pretty much lazy composter. I'm not the best.
Well, these days you can buy it by the bag like everything else. But
here again, what are you actually buying? Where did it come from? And when you can make your own compost, at least you're keeping it very local and not having to, again, go back into the carbon footprint that takes to get that bag compost to your nursery or big box store, that you have to go pick it up.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes remaining in this episode, and we're talking with Kate Bracken and Craig Fracker. They're both with the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association. And I'd like to take it back when you first started with the Master Gardeners. Do you recall that first session? What are some of the topics, the really basic topics that you covered, Kate, in that first session?
The first session of class, well, there's the training is quite extensive, and it's very interesting. There's a big thick book, which is now online, so that we can look online for it and for the information. But I found that the biology of the plant, I was interested in for some reason. So I spent a lot of time on that. But there's so much we talk about. There's a new chapter in the book about habitat, which is something that they added and which is part of the hope. And it's all the ecosystem thing. It's like we all live here together. We all need to make sure that we're providing habitat for our animals, our insects, and ourselves. So I just felt like I was doing a good thing for the earth.
Craig?
I remember a questionnaire that was circulated on the first day to individuals. And one of the questions that sparked my interest is, what is your passion? And I think that question right there was really impactful for me, because I already knew what my passion was and how did I transfer that into the master gardening community. So identifying people's passions and why they're here was a big first day.
And both Craig and Kate, how can anyone become a master gardener if they are willing to put in that time and training?
Yes, 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 yes. Come and
What is the
join us.
process, and what should anyone listening to this who's getting excited and wanting to get involved do?
Well, you want to contact your Virginia Cooperative Extension and talk to them, ask them about the Master Gardener training. You can also go online. There is, just type in Master Gardener and Virginia, and you'll Google, and you will get information for your area and who the contact people are. Our training starts every January and is completed by March or mid-April. And so we meet two days a week and for 3 hours, and that's training time. So there is time involved in learning. We're not just, I get, maybe that's where the master comes from, because we're not just getting out there and we're actually looking up this research-based information to share with the community. So yes, I suggest Googling, and if nothing else, go to gpmga.org and send us an email, and we will be happy to show you, to direct you to whatever county you're in.
Just about a minute remaining in this episode, and we're talking with Kate Bracken and Craig Fracker with the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association. Craig, I wanted to ask you about resources. Of course, the Master Gardener program, the Cooperative Extension, but a lot of gardeners these days watch YouTube. Do you have a favorite YouTube channel, or do you even watch?
I really don't watch a lot of YouTube. My resources have been more in the traditional form of books. So a lot of permaculture books I'll pick up to read. I've recently got into Korean farming techniques, which has been it's been a huge eye-opener for me, because they really talk about working with nature instead of against it. So, and I'm a big fan.
All right. Final question for each of you. What would be your one word of advice to new gardeners, people who are, been sitting on the sidelines and they're thinking, that looks pretty interesting, and I could save some money maybe on my food. Kate, what would be your one word of advice?
Well, just get out there and dig, but dig carefully. Don't dig the whole place up. No, I think that anybody can be a gardener, and you don't even have to have property to do it. You can do it in a pot. So, and just the fact that you're seeing something grow, it's a miracle.
It is. It is. Craig, your word of advice?
Enjoy the wonder. Take a moment in time. Gardening can be hard and frustrating, but it can also bring about amazing amounts of wonder, and to take a moment and enjoy it. My daughter asked me, don't you just love to see the harvest? And I said, what I love to see is when they sprout out of the ground and grow.
And grow garlic. Well, thank you both for what you do with the Goochland-Powhatan Master Gardener Association and for the community at large. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
And Mary, we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Kate and Craig.
For the Soil, a conversation is made possible with funding support from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and the Agua Fund. Other partners include the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, Virginia Cooperative Extension, Virginia State University, Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation, and partners of the Virginia Soil Health Coalition. Views expressed on this podcast are those of each individual guest. To download a copy of this or any other episode, visit the website forthesoil.org. If you have a specific question about soil health, call your local extension office, your local USDA service center, or a Soil and Water Conservation District office. Music used during today's program is provided courtesy of the Flip Charts, all rights reserved. For the Soil, a conversation is produced by On the Farm Radio in collaboration with Virginia Tech. I'm your host, Jeff Ishee.